Hey, hello, and welcome to the show. It's me, JP. It's time for JP's product pick of the week. Thanks so much for stopping by. We've got the chat over in YouTube as well as our Discord. So if you're somewhere else like Facebook and you're wondering, hey, where are all these people chatting at from, then I would recommend that you head over to our Discord. You can just go to adafruit.it/Discord and then look for this. This is it right here. You'll look for that live broadcast chat channel right there. Hello Tyrone for popping in, and Thin Man, John Nodge, hello. Hey Jim Hendrickson. And also over in our YouTube, hello to Beatagraf Abdelhagen, Robert Cochran, Dave Odessa is there as well. Hello. So let's see, what have we got going on here today? I've got a grouping, a cluster, a gaggle, a murder of products. I don't know what the proper name is for this collection, but we've got a group of products, and what I'll let you know is you can head to that URL and that QR code right there, and that will get you pretty close. And it's actually all the different variants on that page. I believe we have some in stock in varying numbers, so you might want to act quick if the one you want is in a lower quantity. You can see that by clicking on the different options. And we have deep discounts. All of these products are 50% off today, which is that right? Is it 50%? Yeah, that's a pretty good savings. So what I like to do though, before maybe a bunch, Dave Odessa, it could be a bunch of products. Head there, check it out. Usually we have this show broadcast from within the page, but I think there was a hitch today, so it may not be in there. But if you can just, oh, yes it is. Yes it is. Thank you. I believe Lady Ada just took care of that. Thank you. Sneaking around back there all fast ninja-like. You can go and you can get to that page and you will see this show happening right in there. All you need is one browser window. And my job for the next few minutes, and Lady Ada's job and PT's job, is to convince you that this is something you may want. So what I will do first is have Lady Ada tell us about it from her new segment in Ask an Engineer. So take it away, Lady Ada, from the not too distant past.
We've got some big square buttons. You want a big square buttons, got big square buttons. So show all the images really fast. So these are big square buttons. There's a 16 millimeter, 51 millimeter, and I think like a 40 millimeter. I'm going to show them all next to each other. They're basically the same idea. There's this like black plastic case. There's a translucent white square in the middle. There's an LED that you can light up. It's like mechanical, tactile, so it's very clicky. Like I said, it comes in multiple sizes, and then that image shows, one person, that first video.
Clickety click.
There's like click, and we'll get more demos. So let's go to the overhead because I have to.
Clack, clack.
I'll show them next to each other to compare the size, and I'll explain why I have these.
Clack, clack.
Because you're probably like, why do you have these?
Why do you have these? Why do you have these?
Why do you have these? Okay, so this is the 44. So this is 44, and this is the 50. So I got the numbers wrong, and this is the 60. I think I called it 51, but it's basically 45, 50, and 60. Okay, so. Now, you're probably wondering, Lady Ada, why do you have these big square buttons? The reason is that we already had a square button in the shop, but I wanted to fit like an OLED or a TFT inside of it.
Oh.
Like in this space here, because you can remove the white part. I don't know if I'm...
Are you going to put a screen in there?
And I thought we could put a screen or something in there. Like there's a little bit of space. But...
You can make a macro pad. You can make a...
I just thought it'd be cool. Like maybe you could put like a 1.5 inch TFT display, something we could press.
Could you put an e-ink display in there? I don't know.
You could put e-ink maybe, yeah. I don't know. I wanted to experiment, but I also thought like, okay, well, it's always, big buttons are always fun.
when the big buttons get big enough, eventually they can be a display. Yeah.
So this is some big clicky buttons. They all have a tactile switch. You can take them apart. So they do have like an LED. The LED...
Oh, I know what we'll use it for.
What?
We'll use it for the thing that you just assigned to Tyeth.
That's right. That's what I already did.
Oh, these are the
buttons.
Okay, yeah, we have a really neat project. Okay, this.
Yeah, I already did. It's already been done. He already bought them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so right, so it's a clicky. There's this LED. The LED is separate. It's lit up separately, and I'll say the LED is not that. It's not like super bright. If you want, you could replace it with like a diffused like a 5mm LED, maybe it would show up a little bit better. Honestly, the light up isn't so great. If you don't want to put a TFT like me because you're not crazy, you can also just put a cutout, either translucent or paper, and it will show, square, it'll show up very nicely. But just big square buttons, they're great. This one is like enormous, huge, and this one is like kind of tiny, and this one is just right. So it's big square buttons. We also, of course, have the 33mm one, but that one is much too small, I think. Okay, so that's buttons. We've got some big square buttons. You want a big square buttons, you got big square buttons. So show all the images really fast.
It's big buttons. That's also a looping video. Whoops. Hey, so yes, that's right. That's the product pick of the week this week. It is big square buttons. These are LED illuminated arcade style tactile switches with an LED inside, a big, huge clicking dome on top, and you can take these apart to add any graphics you want to it, or maybe get even more creative with it and add a screen like Lady Ada was suggesting. So I'm going to show you, I'll hint there, I've got a little ribbon cable in there. That's mysterious. Why is there a ribbon cable in there? But let's take a look, a little closer look at these. So first of all, I'll mention again, if you want to go and pick some of these up, they are half price right now just during the show. You don't need a coupon code. They're just priced to sell. Go there. 6261 is going to take you to the product page, and that right there is one of 4 that we have. So we have the 60mm, and that's this one that I'm showing off right here. Biggest one we have, 60mm by 60mm. It's a square. Then we have a 51mm. I don't have these on hand, just the 60. But slightly smaller. You can get a ruler and see. 44mm, that's moderate. That's a moderate size. That picture, in fact, in the video there gives you an example of 3 of them side by side, which is nice. And then finally, we've had this one for a long, long time. It has a many thousands earlier product ID on that one. It's product 491, and that's the square 30mm, almost standard arcade size. They're just square instead of round. But I love these 60mm ones, and if you take a look at this graphic right here, you can see we've got sort of standard threaded post that you see on a lot of arcade buttons. So you're maybe used to just drilling that kind of hole. You could do that, and then this will sit on top of your surface, but there's actually a nice inset beveled edge that you can see here. And I've removed from it this part, which is essentially a clamp that clamps up under the table. So if you drop this into a table, a surface, an arcade cabinet, 3D printed part, I'll show you an example of something I made. This will just push up against it and hold it nice and in place if you make these square cuts here. And then there is this little nylon or plastic nut that you can use to screw that up in there. As Lydia said, these do have a fairly dim LED in there. You could replace that with colored LEDs or other LEDs that you like. And the switch mechanism has 2 posts for your normally open and common switch contacts, and then on the side are the ground and power for the LED, so you'll probably feed that 2.5 volts, 3 volts. Put a resistor in there is a good idea if you're getting 3 volts, 3.3 volts off of your microcontroller. Definitely if you're getting 5, you're going to want to use a resistor calculator for LEDs. But anytime you press this, you'll just send the switch closed message, and then you can just have this permanently powered on. That's pretty common with arcade setups. Or you can have that on a ground and a GPIO output pin, digital output pin, and light it. So that said, why don't I show a little demo of just the button in action, and then we'll take one apart and take a look at putting a little couple extra things inside of there. So this here, let me go to that view. You can see I've got my favorite little sample workstation here because I want to play back sound samples. So you can see right now, that's not a bad idea of what it looks like. It is not super bright. That's kind of what it looks like in the real world, even though I have my exposure down a bit. So off, on, off, on. And in this case, I'm using it to trigger samples, so we can go and adjust what section of a sample that is.
I'm having trouble understanding right now.
Right, so that's just acting as a MIDI trigger. And the way I set this up, if you're curious, is I have just a little 3D printed case. There is the button pushed through, screwed in place with that little, let me adjust the exposure here now that we're inside. So clamped up against the inside, this is inset. There's a nice little chamfer built into the button itself, slight little dome shape to the square part there. And then I have a cutie pie mounted to the wall there, running to the ground and a digital input pin. I'm using A0, and then ground and a digital output pin. I'm using pin A1 on the cutie pie, and that's telling the light to go on and off, and this is triggering some MIDI on my little sample station over there on a little black box. So set that back there. Now, if you don't even have to pull it apart fully to get this off, I might need to use a screwdriver because my hands are a little greasy. There we go. So you can pop this off without taking the rest of the button apart, and you'll see there's a little diffuser, a nice little plastic diffuser there. So that's diffusing that LED that's in there. But you can make your own little fun labels. You can set them on the top of this if you have a brighter LED, or if you want to see a little light through. This is just a laser printer. Let me get that in there. There we go. Right, so just same thing, MIDI trigger, but now it's got some weird guy's face on there. The other example I wanted to show you is this button here. Pull this off to the side. I have run a iSpy cable through there for SPI and I2C, and I have a little display here that I'm gonna plug in, and this actually, without any modification, works pretty well. Fits right through some of the gaps in the shaft there and out the side. So I have not set it up to do any button reads. You'll notice my button in this case is not connected to the microcontroller. And this is not a perfect fit. It's going to hang off the edge there a little, but you'll see the idea, and I can put this cover back on here mostly. It's just a little proof of concept. And if I give this some power, we will see a little TFT light up in there. So once that reboots itself. So this will still function, in this case as a button. You could probably mask this out, trim that board a little bit, put a little 3D printed cover over it to make a bezel so that you're not seeing all the gaps there. But that's kind of a neat thought that Lady Ada had, is these are big enough to fit. This is a 1.54-inch TFT 240-240. We probably have some others that are a little bit of a better fit because they don't have as much PCB visible there. You could use OLEDs. But yeah, sure enough, that is now a, anyone remember the Art Lebedov keyboard? This could make your gigantic version of a keyboard with one display per screen. That's how you would potentially set that up. So let's see, what else is there? Let me check and see if anyone has questions over in the chat here. John Nodge says, I imagine these would typically be installed through a punched metal sheet. Yeah, you can probably see behind me there, I have a little arcade stick set up. So that's like MDF with holes drilled through it and arcade buttons and a trackball plopped through. This is the same sort of thing. In this case, you'd probably drill the 4 corner holes and then use a little jigsaw to cut your way, or coping saw to cut your square out. Drop it in. You've got about, I'd say about a quarter inch of space there to hide the cut work. So you want to be fairly neat, but it doesn't have to be perfect because this is going to set right down in there and hide it. And then you'll clamp the bottom up through there. Let me disassemble this so we can take a closer look at how it goes together. Let me switch back to this down cam for you right here. I'll hold that off to the side. So I'm going to unplug my Cutie Pie, unplug my iSpy camera, and we can now unplug the switch and just take that out of there. So not bad. You can see we've got a little bit of stress on it, but it didn't really cut it up or anything like that. So I think that would probably work fine. Once that's screwed in there, it's not getting additional, shouldn't be getting additional pressure. Other options, of course, are to pull this fully apart, do that, and cut a little slit in the underside here, since you do have a full square cutout. So a little cut in there for the iSpy would be great way to do that. So this has a spring, and it goes back inside here. So that's a little spring return there, and then the switch. This is a fairly standard limit switch, clicky limit switch. I didn't pay attention to the way this went in, so I could be putting that in reverse. You have to be a little careful about that, but that's how the LED goes in. You can just place an LED there and wrap the legs around these posts, put it in, just pay attention or get your multimeter out so you know which way is which. And then this goes in here and just turns like a little 1/8 of a turn. Got to line up these little ears, click, and then you can see that little bit there. Oh, I've missed. Let me get that in a little better. There we go. That little post clicks on the switch, little momentary switch there. So there's some clickiness in that switch, which you can hear. This is the little diffuser plate, goes back on there, and then plastic dome goes on top. You could also potentially use a transparency on here, a sticker on here. There are some options for how to put that together, and that clicks in place pretty nicely. So that, if we take a look back at the other one, that's what that looks like once that's screwed in place. The bit I ignored here on this one is this, which gives you the clamping force up underneath the surface there. So you could do this through like a 1/4 inch, maybe a 1/2 inch of material there, and press up against it. And then you'll thread on this nut here just to clamp that up to where you want it, and then install there. I also like these. We sell these in the store, these quick connectors, spade connectors, spade lug connectors for arcade buttons, so you can use those. So those pop on and off, and they grip on pretty well once they're on, or you can give them a little crimp with some pliers. So that is that.
No.
That is how that works. Let's see, other questions from the chat. Display idea is very neat. Yeah, great idea, Lamore. I'm hoping we'll do a proper project with that. That could be a lot of fun. John Nodge says perhaps bore through the threaded post perpendicular to those long retainer clips. Yeah, good idea. You could get rid of, you could shave off a little section of that threading even if you need to. Some little OLEDs will go in there nicely, says squid.jpg. Maybe some NeoPixels. Yeah, if you want to do a little extra wiring, you could run a NeoPixel, or even a NeoPixel Joule, I think would fit nicely in there. Do I have one? I think I do. That's a little NeoPixel Joule right there, so that would fit nicely in there and give you a bunch of light, bunch of color. Recess it just a little bit deeper in there, you'll get the diffusion off of that plastic that's on the top, which is nice. Let's see, any other, bring up the YouTube. Is the light circuit isolated from the switch just to pass through to the LED? Yes, Burton Rutan asks. Yes, these are separate, absolutely separate circuits on here. There's nothing other than, I think that's a common ground between them, so you could do one fewer wire. But yeah, you've got normally open and common on the, or common and normally open on the switch. Gets closed when you press that. Ground and power, I think, or maybe it's the other way around. There is an indicator on the side of the switch there as to the switch layout, not for the LEDs, those you just want to test. All right, 8x8 dot star would fit. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I don't think I have one of those right here, but yeah, you could do a little matrix display kind of thing, and then you've got alphabet, little alphanumeric letters you can put on there. A lot of possibilities. So go check these out. Go grab some. Let's head back to the Adafruit site for a moment. I will say we've got 16 in stock of the 60 millimeter. So a few left if anyone wants to get those or has them in their cart. 60 on the 51. We have 39 of the 44 and plenty in stock, over 100 of the 30 millimeter. If you go to, we don't have a learn guide on these per se, but if you go to any of these pages and scroll down, we do have a data sheet, and that is helpful for measurements. So this is, I don't know who Blee is. I mean, that's probably the manufacturer. I just don't know them. But here's a little PDF of measurements for most of the mechanicals that you'd need if you're making holes in things to mount these. So you can also grab some calipers and make your own. That's how I made this little 3D printed case for it here, with a little bottom that does not go on well because I forgot to actually put like little snap fit stuff on it. That just needs to be screwed on or glued on. Okay, I think that's going to do it. So let's wrap this up. Again, reminder, if you want to go pick some up, that's the URL right there. Go check out the page, throw them in your cart, get some. Price will go up after the show, so this is just live stream only pricing. Not to pressure you. John Nudge says, someone should make the world's largest mechanical keyboard. Yeah. Hey, Noah, do you want to make a giant finger drumming pad? You almost don't need it to do MIDI. It's just kind of mic that with a contact mic. It's clicky enough. Put it through some reverb. Let's see. I think that's going to do it. Beta Graf Hagen suggests it might fit a NeoPixel ring. I think a 18. Is that like I think it'd be one size smaller than the one I have sitting here. I have kind of the 24. I think we have a 16, right? A 16 might be the next size down. Yeah, it may fit that. I don't think it'll fit a Circuit Playground Express, but we can dream. All right, let's wrap that up, shall we? This right here.
No.
That's the product pick of the week this week. It is Big Square Button.
No.
LED Illuminated.
No.
For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park, and this has been JP's product pick of the week. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
No.
Bye-bye.